Hey, welcome to tonight's video. Well, it's night where I am right now. Who knows when you're watching it? I'm doing this as a live, and you may be seeing it after the fact. For those of you who don't know me, my name is John Arnold, and I am the creator of Christ Yoga in You, where we work on living faithfully, living healthy, living epic lives. So welcome. This is the first video in what I'm hoping will be a very long series of videos. My intention is, so I'm kind of new to doing this whole live thing, is to do a video every day in February focused around helping people increase flexibility, overall body flexibility, hitting on several core areas. We're going to do the lower back. We're going to do some things to help with shoulder mobility and upper back and neck flexibility to relieve headaches and tension. Those pesky, like hips, glutes, and hamstrings that can tighten up when you're sitting at a desk all day. We're going to loosen that stuff up for you. And when you get greater flexibility in those things, you have wonderfully greater range of motion. It opens up things you can do that you normally can't, helps you keep from getting injured, which is awesome. We don't want anybody injured. And also, when you have greater flexibility over all of your body, you're going to have better posture. That means you breathe better. There's just so many benefits that come from having a supple, limber body. And these are going to be simple sequences, 15 to 30 minutes, hitting on a different major area each day. So all through February. February is about flexibility this time. Tonight, we're going to focus mainly on lower back. This is a short, simple sequence, about 15 minutes, that is not going to require any extra props. In fact, we're never even going to stand in this, okay? So you can do everything from your mat. And that said, the only thing I want to do before we go into it is ask you to subscribe. That would be awesome. I would love to come to your home more often and help you with yoga. And the other thing is press that notification bell, because when you press the notification bell, you're going to know when I'm either going live and or when new videos come out. And I would love for you to not miss any of this. Okay, so that said, let's go ahead and move into our sequence for this video. We're going to start in a child's pose. So what I would like you to do is bring your toes together and your knees fairly wide. We're just going to walk the hands forward and rest down toward the mat. If your forehead can comfortably come down to the mat, that's awesome. If it can't and you need to rest, or it feels better to rest your forehead on your hands or forearms, you know what? That's awesome too. So just listen to your body and do what it says. We're going to take a few breaths here to just become present to our mats and our bodies. I would invite you to breathe in gently through the nose and out through the nose. If you want to push with your hands a little bit to bring you back more into your hips and then walk those hands back forward a little, might be a nice adjustment. Now, again, getting present to our bodies, pay attention for a moment to how your body is coming into contact with the mat. Feel the weight of it being supported by the ground below you. Continue to breathe. Maybe notice your lower back, how it feels this evening. Take one more breath here. And on your next inhale, let's walk our hands over to the right and lay the left hand on top of the right hand. Try not to let the hips rise up too much. Kind of draw them back toward the heels and feel both the opening of the side body and a bit of a gentle bend laterally of the spine to the right. And because we're working on flexibility, when we hold poses, I'm going to tend to hold them for at least 30 seconds, sometimes longer when we get into denser muscle tissue. But don't hold the breath, please. Always hold the pose, but not the breath. Let's take 2 more breaths here. Inhale and walk the hands to the center. Pause here for a moment. 1 breath. And on your next inhale, let's now walk the hands to the left. Bring the right hand on top of the left hand. Now, in general, when we are working on the spine, you want to think of moving the back in 6 directions. Right now, we're laterally flexing it left to right, so bending to the side, if you will. You want to twist left and right, and then you want to arch it and then round it. So going from a concave to a convex and back and forth. Let's just take 2 or 3 more breaths here. And after your next breath on an inhale, go ahead and walk the hands to center. Walk them back a little bit. We're going to come up into all fours to tabletop. You want your shoulders centered over your wrist and elbows. So those joints are stacked. That keeps you safe. We're going to stack the hips above the knees. And we're going to do a little cat-cow here. I'm going to start with cow, and I'm going to exhale or inhale. And as we inhale, drop the belly down, bring the crown of the head up, the shoulders down, kind of draw the collarbones through. And then we're going to exhale and round the shoulders up, kind of hunching like a Halloween cat. And at the peak of your exhale, you can draw that belly button up toward the spine. And now let's flow between those. You can follow your own breath, but you're going to inhale to cow, exhale to cat. Just flow with your breath. Now, rather than hold these particular poses, just so you know, I'm flowing between them because what I'm doing is increasing blood flow to the lower back before we do some other more direct long holds that will arch and round the back. So that's kind of what's going on here. Take one more cycle here. So one last cow. We started with cow. One last cat. End with cat. End in a neutral position. We're going to walk the hands forward and come down to the elbows and forearms. We're going to do Sphinx pose. You want the elbows basically beneath the shoulders. The hands are kind of like railroad tracks in front of you. Forearms are parallel with one another. Lift up through the crown of the head. You can kind of press the feet into the mat. And you want to think in terms of drawing the elbows back toward the hips. That will help elevate the chest a little bit and give a little bit more bend to the spine. Let's breathe here for a moment. Try to keep lots of space between the shoulders and the ears. You don't want to be hunched up like so, but lengthened up. Sorry about that. Should have turned my phone off. Rookie mistake. The joys and wonders of live video. Okay, let's go ahead and you can let the chest come down. You might need to bring the hands a little wide to do that. Bring the hands in next to the chest. We're going to push back. We're going to go back into that child's pose, bringing the toes together, knees wide, and kind of walk your hips back by pushing into the hands. And then once you kind of find the deepest expression for you this evening of where your hips can be, you can walk those fingers forward a little bit. You should both feel it most likely in your lower back and then elongation of the spine and along the side body. Take one more breath here. Inhale, come up to all fours. We're going to add a little twist to our practice from a tabletop position. And to do that, what we're going to do is I want to invite you to take your right hand, reach it up nice and high. Ooh, I had a little pop to my back. That's kind of what I was hoping for. Exhale, bring the hand through and drop the shoulder and the head toward the mat. I walk my hand out a little bit so you can see me. Also, some people find this pose a little bit more comfortable to walk that hand out. You can push into the left hand a little bit to deepen the twist. Again, listen to your body. I offer cues, but I really feel like rather than a teacher, I'm more like a tour guide pointing out great places to stop and observe. But you always want to listen. You want to listen to how you're breathing, what feels tight. If you ever feel any pain, you need to back things up, or if your breath is difficult, you need to back things up. Our bodies are wonderful teachers. Take one more breath here. All right, let's walk that hand in. If you walked it out to support you as you push up, reach up again to the sky. I'm going to try not to smack my hand on that desk. That wasn't any fun. We're going to go to the other side. We're going to lift the left hand up, nice and tall. Reach through, drop the shoulder and the head down toward the mat. If you want to walk that right hand out, feel free to do that. Just breathe. Relax. Let the mat support you. Let the body soften into it. One more breath here. And then we can walk that hand back. Inhale, push up, reach up nice and high, back to all fours. And we're going to do a little bit deeper back bend now that we've warmed the spine up quite a bit more. I'm going to invite you to walk the hands forward and come down to your mat. Place the hands next to the chest. Push the feet into the mat. And we're going to push up to a cobra. Now, if that feels like too much, you can keep it lower. I'm going to go ahead and push all the way up. Again, the shoulders, draw them away from the ears. Let the legs sink into the mat. And rather than bending the head back, think in terms of reaching the crown toward the ceiling. My body's shaking because I worked out yesterday. Sometimes you'll feel that. It's not a bad thing. 2 more breaths here. Okay, on an inhale, lift the hips up, drop them back toward the heels, bring the knees wide. Let's counter that and go to a child's pose. Ooh, I can feel my lower back releasing big time now. Maybe walk the fingers forward a little bit. Two more breaths. Okay, let's walk the hands back, come up on the knees. You can bring the knees in, sit back toward the heels. If that's too much, you can come up to your legs. Actually, let's go ahead and come up here because we're going to do a bit of a back bend here. There's going to be kind of 2 levels we can take of this, or anywhere in between what feels best for you. We're going to do camel, and a very gentle camel or back bend. Camel will be when we drop our hands down. If you're not familiar with it, you'll see that in a second. But I want you for the moment to just place your hand, you can either put your fist kind of in the lower part of your back or your hands in the lower part of your back. I like to kind of point my fingers up if I can, and just lean back slightly, drawing the chin up toward the ceiling, chest up, doing a little bit of a back bend here. Breathe. Well, let's come up from that for a moment. And if you want to go deeper, you can reach back toward your heels, support yourself with the heels, and draw the pelvis forward. So you can either go where we were a moment ago, right here, or you can come and reach for your heels. Oops, I meant to tuck my toes under. Let the head drop back. Draw the hips kind of forward. Couple more breaths. And come up. And we're going to come around. That was a very active pose, wasn't it? That's an intense back bend. And if you were doing the first variation of it, that's awesome. And you can always come out of a pose and go back into it. You know, if I'm holding a pose longer than is feels appropriate for you, come out and come back in. It's totally okay. Well, we're going to do a very relaxing, we're kind of cool down now and after that and counter the arch we just did the back in a very restorative kind of gentle version of butterfly pose, or what you might call bound angle pose. I'm putting the soles of the feet together. The knees are wide, letting them drop down. You'll notice I don't have my feet pulled in very tight. You can do that, but I want to offer you a very restful, peaceful variation of this to help us kind of cool down and wrap up. And that is, send the feet a little bit far forward so you have a broad diamond instead of a triangle. And you can either just drape forward here and rest right there, or one of my favorite variations on this is to take the arms and thread them under the legs with the palms up and let the body just kind of cascade down over forward and let the head hang. This to me is so restful, and it really does open up the lower back. On exhales, if you want to sink in a little deeper, that's a good time to do that. Let's take about 3 or 4 more breaths here. And on your next inhale, once you finish those breaths, go ahead and walk your way up. Just draw those knees together, walk the feet in a little bit. You can lean back on your hands and let the legs just windshield wiper side to side. All right. And we'll go ahead and turn ourselves on our mats. Take hold of the knees, walk the toes back until you bring yourself down to the mat gently. You can leave the knees up for a moment. Let's take and draw both knees into the body. Exhale, let the left leg come down. Keep the right leg up and in. And we're going to do a twist to the left. So take your left hand, put it on the outside of the right knee. You can bring the right hand out wide like a T or in a Y position. Draw that left leg across the body and turn the gaze to the right. And I heard a couple big thunks in my lower back as it opened up. One more breath here. And let's inhale. Come back up to center. Draw that knee in. Drawing the left knee beside it. Give yourself a nice hug with the knees in. Let the right leg drop down. We're going to do the other side. We're going to hold the left, draw the left leg in nice and tight for about 3 breaths. And then let's draw it across the body. Right hand's on the outside. Got just a little bit here to give me some room. And the gaze is over to the left. Left hand is out. The right hand is on the outside of the left knee, drawing it across the body. Couple more breaths. And on inhale, draw that knee back up to the center. Let's pull in both legs. Maybe lift the head up and drop in a nice little ball. You can let the head down and rock gently side to side to massage that lower back. Hopefully it's feeling a lot more limbered up and stress-free after that lovely practice. Reverse directions if you're going in a circle. And let's bring the feet down to the mat. Let the hands drop open to the sides. And if it feels right for you this evening, reach out that right leg, set it down on the mat, about shoulder width out, let it drape open. Same thing with the left leg, lift it out to the end of the mat, let it drape open to the left. Let the feet just relax. If after that your back is still really tight, or if you're ever laying in Shavasana, this is corpse pose, Shavasana. If you're ever laying it and your back feels a little tight, you can always lift the knees up slightly or put a bolster or a pillow under the knees, and that will usually relieve that. I want you to pause here for a moment. Let your mind sweep over your body. Feel how maybe it feels differently than when you started. I'm thankful to get to practice with you today. And I want you to thank yourself. Sometimes people feel that self-care is kind of selfish, but we can't be any good to anybody else if we're stressed out and messed up and all bent up. So what you did is one of the best blessings you can do for you and your family. To take care of yourself in mind, body, and spirit is really a holy obligation. And you did it. So applaud yourself. Let's take a couple more breaths here. When it feels right and you feel ready, I would extend your right arm overhead, roll over onto the right side. I'm actually on my left. I hope I'm not confusing you by doing that, but I don't want to turn away from the camera for you. But turn over on your right side or whichever side feels best. Pause here for a moment. This is seed pose with the knees gently drawn up. It is symbolically a pose that is to capture the idea of rebirth. Like a seed that falls into the ground, it springs up into new life. And when you feel ready, go ahead and push up, hopefully feeling a little bit renewed like you have some new life after that practice. Join me in an easy seated position, sitting up nice and tall. I invite you to circle sweep the hands up, bring them together in prayer hands. Let the hands come down, pause at the forehead. May God bless your mind and renew it so that it might know his good and perfect will. Let the hands drop down and pause at your lips. May God fill your lips with encouragement and good news for those around you. And lastly, bring your hands to heart center. May God fill your heart with grace and compassion and the love of Jesus Christ, so much so that it spills out on the people around you. Lastly, I close with a word that's old and familiar to yoga. And in India, it's a greeting. It can be simply a hello, but it has a lot of interpretations. One of my favorite is that the light and the life in me honors the light and the life in you. Namaste. I hope you feel good. Let me know. Let me know how your back feels, what was good, what you need, what wasn't good. Please comment on this video wherever you might happen to see it. And again, I'd invite you to subscribe. Come check out my website, christyogainu.com, for more videos like this, or join me in a private Facebook group that I have for Christ Yoga and You. Great places, I said, for you to come and be faithful, be healthy, be epic with your life. All right, blessings, Kingdom Yogis, and I'll see you in another video soon. Bye now.